This video is going to be a little bit different starting off because of the fact that I'm not going to start by saying, hey guys, or what's up, or my name is. I just want to say I'm sorry. I haven't been around. If you watch this video, thank you. But I haven't been around because of the fact that I have been really down lately. Just problems at work. I got turned down for a better job. My schedule has been pretty bad where I've been having to work almost a week straight, and they're basically running me like a dog. It really shouldn't be an excuse, but that affects my mental stability, and it's really taking a toll on me. So I just want to get into the video, and as you can see, we're on PCPartPicker. PCPartPicker, if you don't know what it is, it's a website that allows you to put theoretical builds together. It'll tell you whether there's any kind of compatibility issues or if everything works together. So as you can see, the compatibility check says there are no issues or incompatibilities found. That's a good indicator that you're on the right step. Now for this build, I'm going to say it is probably the barest of bones builds that you can get right now. There are a couple of good deals in this, I'm not going to lie. Kind of why I put this together, just as a little fun to kind of bring me up. But let's just get started in it. So for the build, I chose the Pentium G4400 as the CPU. For the motherboard that it's going to go in, I chose the ASRock H110M HDS. For the memory, I chose the Avexir Core 8GB RAM. For storage, I chose a PNY 120GB SSD. For the video card, I chose a GeForce GTX 1050. The case is a Rosewell FBM01 case. The power supply is the EVGA 430 watt. So, the good thing about this build is it may not seem like much. It's not high end. You're not rocking old hardware. Granted, the Pentium, I'm gonna say, the Skylake series was back 2015, I want to say, and the Kaby Lake released not too long ago, so there still is life left in this generation of processors, this generation of the socket. So you're on the 1151 socket. There's plenty of expandability to it. You can swap out the G4400 for like an i5, an i7, an i3 if you want to get just the newest Pentium, like the 4560 with hyper-threading. It's possible. It's more than possible. For the RAM, you can add another 8GB DIMM of RAM and you can get up to 16 gigs. You don't have to stick with just 120 gig SSD. You can get a 1TB hard drive, or a 2TB hard drive, a 6TB hard drive. You can upgrade to a better video card, or you can get a bigger power supply. It's up to you. This is just a mock-up of basic essential gaming, like what you can use to play some games. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So like I said, for the processor, I chose the Intel Pentium G4400. It's a Skylake processor. Like I said, it's only dual core, so you only get 2 physical cores, and that's it. But the good thing is this processor can actually do quite a bit. It's like the last generation G3258, where it has the horsepower it needs. I have a friend that I built a computer and a sold to that has this processor on that computer, and the computer can play modded Minecraft, it can play Skyrim, and any other game that they like. Now, I'm not going to say it can play every game, but it can play a decent amount of games, no problem. And if you pair this with a Z170 motherboard that has one of the very first BIOSes made for the 1151 socket, you can actually do a base overclock for this processor and change that 3.3 gigahertz up to something higher, depending on I would say, like the silicon lottery as people call it. Depends on how much of a base overclock you can get. But I would recommend, if you do that, make sure you know what you're doing, do your research, make sure you have the proper cooling for it. For this, the stock fan that comes with it will be just fine. For the motherboard that it's going to go in, I decided to go with the ASRock H110M HDS. It is a micro ATX motherboard, so it's on the smaller side, but you do get some pretty good features. You get 4 6 gigabit SATA 3 ports. You get a PCI Express 3.0 by 16 slot, PCI Express slot. And for the I/O, you get kind of a bare I/O. I would say 2 3.0 USB 3.0 ports. You get 4 USB 2.0 ports, and a very basic audio layout. For the onboard video, you get DVI and HDMI, which isn't bad. So, that being said, you also do get front port USB 3.0, which should be expected since it's a newer socket. So, let's move on to the RAM. This is one of the deals I was talking about. This is the Vexair Core Series 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it's clocked at 2400 or 2400 megahertz. And as of right now on Amazon, it is for $39.90, with the original price being $55.99. So you're saving $16, and this is the cheapest RAM you will find as of this point. The next price up is $52. I've checked, and as you can see, I actually purchased it. I'm waiting for mine to ship, but when my money transfers into my account today, I will be actually picking up another stick of this RAM for hopefully another build. So this is a great deal. I would jump on it if you need DDR4 RAM. Granted, this module showing that it is blue LEDs in it, or blue plasma. I'm not too sure exactly what it is. It says LEDs. But if you need it, I would jump on it. This is something if you need it, don't hesitate. Because this deal, who knows how long it will go for, but you don't want to wait on it. For the storage, I chose to go with the PNY CS1311 120 gigabyte SSD. I chose this because of the fact that SSDs, I have one now on my console streaming computer, and the boot time is unbelievable. Booting from a hard drive and booting from an SSD, there's a huge difference. Granted, SSDs are a little more on the costly side, but you can get 120 gig SSD for $50. For the same price, you can get a 1 terabyte hard drive, and you should have plenty of storage. If you start off with just the bare essentials, like I would say throw Minecraft on there, and maybe another game that isn't too big of a game, you can run it no problem. The boots would be unbelievable. You know, you wouldn't have loading screens, and if you did, it would be hardly any loading screens. So I would say I feel this is completely worth it. Now, for the video card, we have the EVGA GeForce GTX 1050 Gaming. It has 2 gigs of VRAM, it's GDDR5, and it supports DirectX 12. The reason why I chose this is because of the fact that I love the EVGA brand of graphics cards. Typically you pay more for EVGA because they are a company that only makes NVIDIA graphics cards. They don't touch AMD. AMD has their company specific. So EVGA is strictly for NVIDIA. They also make other products that are great, but I trust what NVIDIA does. And this graphics card can pull its own weight. You can play games no problem. This video card isn't going to max out everything, but this video card can play the games. If you're going to be playing in 1080, I'd say maybe you have to do medium to high to tweak the settings a little bit. But other than that, this is a fantastic little card. And if you notice, normally there would be like a 6-pin or 8-pin connector, but this does not have it. This pulls the power straight from the motherboard, so you don't have to run any extra cables. You can, if you have a non-modular power supply, you can just zip tie it off, not have the cables, there. Get modular, you don't even have to have the cable at all. And the reason, like I said, normally for EVGA you pay a little bit more. The cheaper one than this, or the one cheaper than this, was an MSI card. I just chose to go with this because it was $1 more. I love EVGA so much. But anyways, the case, another great deal. So I love this case very much. I built in it for my mom's computer, and that computer is working just fine. The case has nothing to do with it. But to me, just building in this case, it's small, but it's kind of like a cute little small. It's the Rosewell FBM01. And there's nothing spectacular to it. You have two 5 1/4 inch bays on the front, and you have one for like your card readers. But honestly, I loved building in this case. You know, you get a 80mm fan in the back, as you can see there. You get 120 in the front, as you can see, and then you have 2 slots for hard drives, or 3 if you don't put in a card reader. And then you have, like I said, the two 5 1/4 inch bays, or you can use it to tuck all your spare cables if you have a non-modular power supply. Now, believe it or not, you can actually cable manage in this case pretty good if you know what you're doing, if you take your time, if you keep an eye on everything. And this is another component that I'd say is actually a pretty good deal, because the original price of this case was $24.49, and it is on sale for $19.35. So you can actually get this case pretty cheap. If you needed, say for example, a case that didn't look high-end, but you wanted to throw high-end components into it, it's something that would be a little deceiving, because like I said, there's nothing spectacular to it. You know, the case, it's very bland. It's very, minimalistic. So you could actually use this case to hide some pretty nice components in. Now, just a suggestion, if you didn't want to go with this specific case, another one, I haven't built in it, but I looked at it, it didn't look bad at all, is the Rosewell SCM01. Basically the same layout, with a little different design. Even has USB 3.0 on the front, even though it's only one port. But you see, you get your back 80mm fan, and you do not get the front 120mm fan. But it does have the option to add in your own if you wanted to go for like a silent wings, just a silent build. It's up to you. For the last component, it is the EVGA 430 watt power supply. It's 80 plus white efficiency, which means that it has an 80 plus or 80% efficiency under typical loads, as you can see in the description. The EVGA, their products are great. I love the power supplies. I love the video cards. I haven't built with the motherboard yet. I would love to, but their power supplies are wonderful. You can typically tell a good power supply by the weight of the power supply itself. If it's cheap, if it's crap, then the power supply will be on the lighter side. These are actually pretty heavy. I'm not worried about it falling in the case because it's a top-mounted power supply case, but it does have some weight to it. Now, if you wanted to get an extra 70 watts for basically $2 more, you get the 500 watt. And as you can see, I actually purchased this, beginning of the year. So it's in my console streaming computer. Or actually, no, it's in the computer I sold. Still, great power supplies. I trust them, and they get the job done. Now, what I want to do is, if you wanted to upgrade this computer in the future, because of the fact that that's something that is always looked at with computers. You have to look at what is current or if you need to upgrade in the future to play newer games. So let's just look at CPUs first. So as you can see, it does buy the most popular. You know, of course, the Kaby Lake processors are going to be on the top, but I mean, all these are compatible with it. I have the compatibility filter turned on, so it'll show what it can work with. So, for example, if you wanted to go with the Skylake, the i3, and get the hyper-threading, basically $110, and you can get an i3. It'll read like a quad core, even though it's not a true quad core. Oh, I'm sorry, that is for the Kaby Lake. The Skylake is right above it, so $109 basically, and you have something that reads like a quad core. Or if you wanted to go with a quad core, a true quad core, they have, well, let's just narrow the search. So i5s, we can even go to the lowest price. So an i5 6400, and you're looking at basically $170, and you would get a true quad core. So these are 4 physical cores, and you would get more power from it than the G4400. Installing it would be relatively easy. I do recommend, if you do this, if you upgrade, use the fan that comes with it, because that fan is designed for that CPU. The fan designs for a Pentium and the i7 that are locked are different. The Pentiums, they have less fins because they don't have to disperse as much heat because they don't generate as much heat, whereas an i7 has more fins to help dissipate the heat to keep it as cool as possible. So please just keep that in mind. Now let's go back to the build, and let's see. For memory, you can add additional memory. So as you see here, like, you have a full list of memory you can add to increase what you already have. So that being said, it's just always nice to have the option to do so. So let's go back to the build one more time, and we will even check out video cards. So something interesting too about PCPartPicker, which I have mentioned before, is it has an estimated wattage that tells you how much wattage this will pull at max load. And if you click on it, it'll tell you the wattage per each component, the minimum and the maximum, and then it'll add it all up at the very bottom. So the minimum wattage is 46 watts. The max is 204. So that means that if you wanted to go crazy, and I mean absolutely crazy, you could go for the most expensive, which would be this Quadro K6000. Add that. And that is, I wouldn't really worry about it because of the fact that this is just theoretical. But as you can see, 430 watts, and it's still saying the max would be 354. So this build could honestly be upgraded. I mean, look, even a 1080, more reasonable. A 1080, 309. This build is perfectly upgradable. So if you wanted to build this, you have the chance to build it. You have something that is, I would say, bang for the buck, that's easy to upgrade if you need to. So that being said, I hope you've enjoyed the video. This video's gone on for 20 minutes. Sorry about my rambling. I need to try to get back in the swing of doing this. And yeah, so thank you for watching, and take care.